Hello, everyone. Today, we are doing a SEO teardown of a B2B SaaS product. And we'll go through the entire, we've got 7 steps to arrive at how we do an SEO teardown and arrive at a good inbound strategy for a SaaS product. And the one that's in focus today is Champify. Champify is a sales enablement tool that helps in tracking job changes of clients. And when they move from your customer company to a different company, you'll get to notice that and reach out to them and potentially generate a sales opportunity. So yeah, Champify, this is the Champify website. Does look busy, engaging. The question that's on our mind is this website working as a lead generation engine? Is there sufficient traffic coming here? And are there leads getting generated? We'll figure this out in the next course of 15-20 minutes. We'll also come up with a potential blueprint for Champify to drive up greater lead gen. So to understand this space, what we'll first do is identify Champify's alternatives. And how do I do that? First, I go into Google and type Champify alternatives, no brainer. And what I'm seeing is I'm picking up a sponsored one called Common Room. Then I go down and I trust G2. So from G2, I can see there's user gems. Let's pick that up. I also see right after G2, right? Someone has written best Champify alternative to track job changes. So that means I'm going to add this site also. So I picked up Loan Scale. And the next thing is we also trust Reddit when we want to find good tools. So I think this is where I went to Reddit and wrote Reddit job change information tools. And I clicked on those on the first link. Let's see what that throws up. So somebody's saying I'm looking for tools that can track contacts moving from one company to other. Spot on. Let me find out what the answer is. And there are the answers here kind of corroborate with what I've already found. User gems, Champify, Common Room. Interestingly, this person says Crust Data and goes on to say, I think Crust Data is the only tool that can monitor your contacts on a real-time basis though. So implicitly, there's a lot of trust on Reddit, and I would treat that tool also seriously. But for the purposes of this analysis, we have taken User Gems, Common Room, Champify, and Loan Scale. Once we know the top competition, first thing we do is we head over to SEO master tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs. Here we've got SEMrush and Champify, User Gems, Loan Scale, and Common Room. And a comparison of these domains tells us a few things. Firstly, I'd look at this column, organic traffic. Champify's got about 820 and slightly on the decline. User Gems doing well with 3,400 and growing. Loan Scale seems to be a newbie in the game. And Common Room has about 8,800 traffic per month. This kind of indicates that Champify has some roof space to grow the inbound organic traffic, but it's not conclusive. How do we make that assessment then of the traffic potential? We need to head over to keyword analysis, and that's what we've got here. So there's something, we do a search potential assessment, and what we've got here is terms like account-based marketing, ABM marketing, pipeline generation. All these are relevant terms. Here is the search volume per month, and Champify is not driving any traffic from these keywords, but User Gems or Loan Scale are doing that, which means there's definitely high chance these are relevant keywords. If we just do a sum total of the search volume, this itself is 31,000. Now, there could be a lot of surrounding topics like sales conferences, list of tools, things like that, and easily there's search volume of 100,000 to 200,000. And even if you drive 5% of the search volume towards Champify, we are talking about 5,000 to 10,000 visitors per month. And if we apply a visitor to lead ratio of even 2%, we're talking about 100 to 200 leads of form fills per month. So it looks like there's definite potential, and Champify isn't harnessing all of that. There's a 10x roof space, but Champify isn't harnessing it. Now we need to go further and find out how do we go about attracting that kind of traffic. So obviously we want traffic from the right fit people, not from people who are uninterested. So let's head over and understand who the ICP is. In the context of Champify, the ICP is looking like any company in the US who's doing mid-market to enterprise level, who has a technology stack that involves Salesforce, because Champify claims through their website that Salesforce plugin and Salesforce integration is good. And these companies could be using tools like Outreach, so they're doing outbound, and their use case is likely that they're doing ABM strategies to grow their pipeline. Now, who are the likely roles involved in making this choosing Champify? Ideally, it'll be the C-suite, that's Chief Revenue Officer or the VP of Sales. Could be the sales manager is involved, sales development representatives, director of demand gen, or chief marketing officer. And at Lead Walnut, we instantly go in and apply the DIU framework. So categorize our roles into decision makers, influencers, and users. In this context, it looks like decision makers are the CRO and VP of sales. Influencers likely to be the marketing arm, so demand gen director, and the CMO. And user, the person who opens Champify day in and day out and uses it for their outbound, likely to be SDRs and sales managers. So for this ICP audience, the next question that comes to us is, what's their buyer journey? By buyer journey, we mean when they have the problem, what are they doing? When they want to know more about the solution, what would they do? And when they're making a decision, what kind of information will they seek? So top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. At each of these stages, they have choices like go talk to friends, attend conferences, but there are people who also search on the net and consume content. So our job is to find out at each of their funnel stages, what kind of content likely to be of value. So that's the ICP to content mapping that we do. So for the decision makers, CROs and VP of sales, at the awareness stage, it could be sales strategy blogs. At the interest stage, it could be ABM strategy guides. And at the decision stage, they would love to see a customer success story or a gated product demo, a quick 2-minute video, right? While a user would potentially even be interested in attending a webinar on ABM strategy. So first of all, for each of these at awareness, interest, and decision level, what are the likely pieces of this composition of this table takes a lot of time. It requires more understanding of the domain. Better we can come out with this recommendation. So this is done. The next comes to understand, okay, given all of this is the likely content, we can head over to the website of Champify, User Gems, Loan Scale, and others, and truly find out what kind of content is being published out there. So here is a little bit of a numbers sheet. So in Champify, there are about 48 blogs. There are 13 playbooks, which is kind of nice. Loan Scale is obviously a smaller footprint, and we notice smaller traffic. User Gems is towering well above 200 plus blogs. There are 25 playbooks, 21 case studies, and podcasts. And a little bit on the, if we look at the content presentation, types of content that B2B SaaS companies would publish to attract the ideal customer profile is stuff like listicles, blogs, case studies, playbooks, webinars, calculators, and podcasts. White papers are becoming a little old school, so we have not looked at that closely. And if we open out and see where is Champify, User Gems, Loan Scale, and Common Room, you find that Common Room and User Gems, the big traffic pullers, are the 150, 160 range. Champify isn't faring too badly. 50 is decent start. And playbooks, Champify is invested a bit. but there's definite opportunity for case studies, more opportunity for top of the funnel listicles, and zero webinars or gated content. So that's a telling reason why even if traffic comes, you're not going to get too many leads if you don't do that. So this is one interesting understanding. So that is a clear gap analysis of the content areas that Champify has to invest in. The next question that comes to our mind, the next chapter in that we need to unravel, this is a very important concept, that people are searching. They don't just search on Google search and decide on choosing a tool. People, B2B buyers, especially sales buyers, sales professionals, could be hanging out in Twitter. They could be looking at YouTube. They could be on LinkedIn, right? And people also look for trust signals. So presence in social portals and presence in trust rating sites. So we're looking at what you'd call as earned media and owned media. So that we head over and look at social presence. And if you look at G2, User Gems, Loan Scale, and Champify are present. In Trust Radius, Loan Scale is in there, Champify is there. And yeah, so this is interesting. So Champify has done the hygiene stuff. In LinkedIn, Champify's follower group is much smaller than User Gems. Obviously, there's scope to grow that. When you look at YouTube, right, User Gems has 277 videos, an average viewership of 136. Common Room has 145 videos, average viewership of 454 views. While Champify has invested a bit on videos, but there's no broadcasting, there's no marketing of this content. So there definitely is an opportunity to improve the footprint and widen the reach. So that's one point. Another interesting observation we noticed was ratings. User Gems has about 141 ratings. Champify has 39. Loan Scale has 60. But none of them have got any new ratings in 2025. The last review was in August, in October, in November. So we look at velocity of ratings or regularity of ratings. The more regularly you pick up ratings, people are biased towards more recent ratings than prior, right? So it's very important to manage your G2 and Trust Radius footprint. So that's the next chapter. The last chapter before we arrive at the game plan is to understand the conversion. And we have some very interesting insights here. You look at Loan Scale, right? Loan Scale is one of their good performing articles is how to implement job offer triggers. So the article is good, but first I land on this page. I have a call to action saying request a demo. Then I scroll, I get a locked in call to action saying get a demo with a mouse over, giving me a little bit of animation on it, which is really nice. And then I continue to scroll. There's a lot of charting, content, snapshots, very engaging, flow charts. There's a video. And then I've got want to get more pipeline with less work, discover new GTM strategies. So on this page, I see request, get, discover. Clearly, there is variety, and what appeals to the user will get caught. But now let's head over to see how Champify has done this. Champify is one of their performing articles or their top performing article is how to use LinkedIn Sales Nav to track job changes. Kind of interesting. But let's look at the calls to action. There's one, get a demo. Then content is good. Videos, lists, and that's why there's traffic. Content is good, but look at this call to action. Ready to run this play at scale, get a demo. There was get demo here, back to get a demo. And then what does this mean? Ready to run this play at scale. It demands my contextual understanding of the above list. What if I taken a short break and lost track of what I had read? This doesn't sound appealing. And then I continue further and look at this one. Looking to see the ROI of champion tracking for your business? get a data test. First of all, this question itself is not easy, simple. If I have limited attention, I really would think, oh my God, that's complex, forget it. And this get a data test, what is that? It's very difficult. I mean, the blog itself talks of a picture is worth 1,000 words. This should look like a very attractive picture and should call the user to action. This doesn't. So clearly, Champify can generate more leads if the calls to action are better optimized. Okay, so we've looked at 6 topics. First, we checked out Champify and its competition and their ICPs. Second, we looked at their traffic, looked at the potential for traffic. Third, we looked at the buyer journey and the types of content people engage at the tofu, mofu, bofu level. Looked at the content footprint. Fourth, and what learnings Champify has. Fifth, we looked at own media and earn media. And lastly, we've looked at call to action. With all this, finally, we enter our recommendation, which is the blueprint. So the blueprint typically is a 10-point blueprint for Champify spread across 5 dimensions. We look at what content should Champify write about, what conversions opportunities are there, some technical SEO pieces, what should we do in owned media and what should we do in earned media. So let's quickly run through that. Content-wise, we're saying create DIU-aligned content with high-intent keywords. Create, did I bring up this gap analysis? We did, yeah. So Champify is clearly not writing content for decision makers. They're very heavy on user level content, which is what we want to address. So create listicles, product comparisons, and ABM oriented content. On the tech side, we noticed that there's some SEO hygiene issues we're missing on the website. For example, there's a sitemap, but the sitemap doesn't list all the web pages on the website. So you're actually misinforming Google on what they need to crawl on. Secondly, implement schema on the website to aid discoverability for Google and AI search. On conversions, we clearly saw the need for gated content, maybe a webinar, and implement more compelling CTAs. Easy to wordsmith this and put better copy. Very quick, low-hanging fruit to win. On the own media, there's clear opportunity to publish and broadcast your YouTube videos and also give more decision maker focused posts on LinkedIn and drive traffic back to the website. On the earned media, improve ratings regularity on G2 and acquire high authority backlinks to improve trusts on the website and the domain authority of the website. So broadly, this is a 10-point blueprint, which surely will help Champify and what's the pot of gold that's out there, potentially 5 to 10x traffic, and could be a far bigger multiplier on leads if all this is carefully implemented. Hopefully, all of this came across clear and fine. If you have questions, you can reach out to me as nattu at leadwalnut.com, and happy to take on more questions. And the more we know about Champify, the more we can clarify the approach. But this is broadly the playbook for arriving at a strategy for inbound growth.